Imagine this. You've spent decades with your partner, building a life together, grown kids, a paid-off house, retirement earned. But suddenly, something shifts. Conversations get shorter, moments of connection become rare, and the feeling of emotional distance grows. And here's the shocking truth. Divorce in old age is skyrocketing. Yep, you heard that right. Today, more couples are choosing to split after 60 than ever before in history. But why? And, more importantly, how can you keep it from happening to you? Let me introduce Mary, a 68-year-old woman living in a small Arizona town. Mary and her husband, Charles, had been married for nearly 45 years. For most of that time, they seemed like the perfect couple, always together at family events, sharing the same daily routines. But little by little, something started to change. Our relationship feels empty, Mary thought to herself. Talks about finances or chores replaced laughter and shared dreams. When their kids moved out, that silence between them became even more obvious. Then, out of the blue, Charles dropped a bombshell. Maybe it's time we each go our own way. Mary was crushed. How could they be so far apart after all those years together? So, what's the reason behind this trend? The first one's simple. The dynamics of marriage change drastically in old age. With the kids grown and out of the house, lots of couples realize they don't have shared goals anymore to keep their bond alive. Without the glue of family responsibilities, they start asking, who's this person next to me? Another key factor is the wear and tear built up over the years. Little frustrations, poor communication, and unmet expectations can turn into an emotional chasm when life slows down. But here's something even more surprising. The third reason is the search for autonomy. In old age, lots of people start prioritizing their own needs and desires after decades focused on family and work. Mary saw this clearly when she reflected on her own feelings. I spent so much time taking care of others that I forgot who I am. This quest for identity can push some couples to feel like they need to start over on their own. Back to Mary's story, she decided to tackle the situation before it was too late. She and Charles sat down for a real, honest talk, something they hadn't done in years. We need to figure out what's happening to us, Mary said. And guess what? That conversation was the first step toward rebuilding their relationship. Now, think about this. Is your relationship at risk of falling into the same trap? Maybe it's time to look inward and figure out what really keeps you two connected. But hold on. Because there's more. How do you stop this drift from becoming irreversible? Now, answer me this. When was the last time you and your partner had a real conversation? I'm not talking about going over bills or planning dinner. I mean a deep conversation where you truly see each other as people, not just as spouse or partner. Here's the truth. A lot of couples in old age split up because, over the years, they stopped investing in their emotional connection. And that distance doesn't happen overnight. It builds up little by little, almost without you noticing. Let's go back to Mary and Charles. After they decided to sit down and talk, they started to realize something big. There was a gap between them because they'd both stopped prioritizing their relationship. I always thought love was enough, Mary said during one of their talks. But now I see that love without communication is like a plant without water. It just dies. That analogy hit Charles hard. He realized that in recent years they'd fallen into a pattern of coexisting, not sharing. But why does this happen? The first reason is routine. For decades, Mary and Charles focused on practical goals: raising the kids, paying the bills, building a home. They were a functional team, but they let go of what made their relationship special: emotional intimacy. Those little gestures, like holding hands, saying, "I love you," or sharing dreams, got rarer, replaced by day-to-day worries. Another key point is the lack of quality time together. With the hustle of adult life, a lot of couples go years without carving out exclusive moments to nurture their relationship. When the kids move out, that gap becomes glaring. Mary realized she and Charles barely knew what the other was thinking or feeling anymore. "It's like we're two strangers sharing the same space," she admitted. But here's something even more eye-opening. The third reason is individual growth. As we age, our interests, values, and desires can shift. Mary found she wanted to spend more time painting and doing yoga, while Charles preferred watching sports and fixing things around the house. Instead of seeing these differences as complementary, they started feeling like their lives didn't have anything in common anymore. That quiet unease grew until it became unbearable. And here's another powerful lesson. Often, the problem isn't a lack of love, but a lack of skills to keep the relationship alive. Mary and Charles realized they'd never learned how to handle conflict in a healthy way or express their feelings clearly. "We just let things pile up," Charles admitted. "And now it feels like there's a mountain between us." Now, picture this. Every little action you take today can prevent future distance. But hold on, because there's something even bigger to dive into. How do you turn an empty relationship into a connection full of vitality again? Now, let me ask you an important question. Is it possible to revive a relationship that seems to have lost its spark? The answer is yes, but it takes effort, intention, and above all, willingness from both sides. After 60, a lot of couples think it's too late to change, but the truth is it's never too late to reinvent love. And here's something surprising. Small daily changes can make a huge difference in a relationship. Let's go back to Mary and Charles. After realizing the emotional gap between them, they took a crucial step, seeking professional help. "Maybe we need someone to help us figure out what's going on," Mary suggested. They started going to couples therapy, where they picked up valuable tools to improve their communication and reconnect emotionally. During one session, the therapist made a powerful observation. "You're not just trying to save your marriage. You're learning to love each other again." That hit Mary and Charles hard, and they decided to put those lessons into action. So, how exactly did they do it? The first step was prioritizing quality time together. Mary and Charles started setting aside one night a week to go out. Something simple, like dinner or a walk in the park. Those moments remind us of who we were before responsibilities took over, Charles said. They also built a new routine. Every night, they'd sit on the porch and talk about their day. That simple habit reignited their conversations and brought back that sense of companionship. Another key move was learning to communicate more clearly and with empathy. In therapy, Mary and Charles figured out they often misread each other's intentions because of unspoken words or ignored gestures. "I always thought he didn't care about my hobbies because he never asked about them," Mary admitted. "But he just didn't know they mattered to me." By openly sharing their needs without judgment, they began filling the emotional gaps that had built up over the years. But here's something few think about: the importance of shifting focus to shared goals. Mary and Charles decided to take on new projects together, like tending a garden or planning short trips. Having something new to do together gave us a sense of adventure we thought was gone. Mary said. Those shared goals helped create fresh, meaningful memories, strengthening their bond even more. And here's another powerful lesson. Embracing individual differences can transform a relationship. Instead of seeing their diverging interests as a barrier, Mary and Charles learned to celebrate them. I can paint while he fixes stuff, and then we share what we did, Mary said. It gives us something to talk about and lets us admire each other in new ways. Now, picture this. Every gesture, every honest conversation, every recreated moment of connection is helping build a stronger, more resilient relationship. But hold on, because there's something even more important to explore. How do you keep that flame alive, even when inevitable challenges come up? Now, answer me this. What happens when the inevitable challenges of old age start weighing on a relationship? Health issues, financial shifts, or even the loss of loved ones can test even the strongest marriage. But here's the truth. Those tough moments don't have to spell the end of love. In fact, with the right strategies, they can become opportunities to deepen the connection between you and your partner even more. Let's go back to Mary and Charles. After months of working on their emotional reconnection, they hit a new hurdle. Charles was diagnosed with a heart condition that required constant care. At first, this brought stress to their relationship. I felt overwhelmed, Mary admitted, and he got frustrated needing help. But instead of letting this challenge drive them apart, they chose to see it as a chance to grow together. The first step was redefining their roles in the relationship. Mary took on the main caregiver role but made sure to involve Charles in decisions about his health. It makes me feel like I still have control over my life, Charles said. At the same time, Mary set healthy boundaries for herself, asking for outside help when she needed it, something she'd never considered before. This division of responsibilities helped prevent burnout and resentment. Another key move was keeping humor and lightness alive, even in tough times. During a doctor's visit, Charles cracked, "Well, at least now I've got an excuse to skip heavy workouts." That shared laugh eased the tension and reminded them both that, despite the struggles, they could still find moments of joy together. Mary also started practicing active gratitude, reminding herself daily of everything they still had, from small acts of kindness to just being there for each other. But here's something few realize: the importance of adapting to change. As we age, our physical and emotional capacities shift, and that calls for flexibility in a relationship. Mary and Charles learned to adjust their expectations. They swapped long walks for short park strolls and tweaked their routines to include frequent breaks. It's not about what we do together, but how we feel in those moments, Mary reflected. And here's another powerful lesson. Mutual emotional support is key to overcoming challenges. When Mary started feeling the strain of caring for Charles, they created a safe space to share their emotions. I needed to know it was okay to say, "I'm tired," or "I need a break," Mary said. By validating each other's feelings, they strengthened their emotional bond and built an even firmer foundation of trust. Now, picture this. Every challenge they face together is like an extra layer of glue, holding their relationship together. But hold on, because there's something even deeper to unpack. How do you ensure that connection keeps thriving, even when the future feels uncertain? Now, let me ask you one final question. How do you want your love story to be remembered? As a journey full of ups and downs overcome together, or as a relationship that crumbled under the weight of time? Here's the final truth. Growing old together isn't just about sharing the same space. It's about creating meaningful memories, supporting each other, and building a legacy of love that inspires future generations. Let's go back to Mary and Charles. After months of working together to rebuild their relationship, they realized something life-changing. Love in old age can be even deeper and richer than before. "We've been through so many stages together," Mary said during a quiet chat on the porch. "But now, I feel like I really understand who he is, and he understands who I am." That mutual understanding brought a new layer to their relationship, where respect, gratitude, and emotional connection became core pillars. But here's something even deeper. This reconnection didn't just improve their lives, it had a positive ripple effect on those around them. Mary and Charles's kids started noticing the changes. "They seem happier, more present with each other," their daughter remarked during a visit. That example inspired their own children to invest more in their relationships. "You showed me it's never too late to work on love," she said, tearing up. This generational impact is the true legacy of a successful marriage. Another key point is that growing old together with purpose brings personal fulfillment. Mary and Charles started reflecting on what really mattered to them. Simple moments, shared laughter, mutual support. They realized they didn't need big gestures to be happy. Just being present for each other was enough. "Now, every breakfast together feels special," Charles said. This mindset of valuing the present helped them face future challenges with more ease and optimism. But here's something few think about: the role of self-awareness in a relationship. Mary and Charles learned that loving someone starts with loving yourself. "I needed to feel fulfilled as a person to bring my best to our relationship," Mary said. By investing in their own interests and well-being, they brought fresh energy to their marriage, creating a positive cycle of mutual growth. And here's another powerful lesson: divorce in old age isn't inevitable. A lot of couples fall into the trap of thinking, "We've tried everything," or "It's too late." But the truth is, it's never too late to start over. With patience, communication, and a willingness to change, any relationship can be rescued and transformed. Now, picture this: every act of kindness, every honest conversation, every recreated moment of connection is writing a new page in your love story. You don't have to accept distance as your fate. You can choose to write a happy ending to your journey. So, what's your first step today? Will it be carving out a moment to talk with your partner? Or maybe seeking professional help to strengthen your relationship? Remember, love in old age can be the most beautiful chapter of your life. You just have to choose to invest in it. Are you ready to grow old together with more love, more connection, and more meaning? The future of your relationship depends on the choices you make today.